getting dressed right now to go to a tea party. I have a friend, her birthday is in maybe 3 or 4 days, and she's doing a tea party for her birthday. So I'm getting dressed for that, but I'm about to do my makeup. So do my makeup with me while I tell y'all about me losing a friend. So yeah, I just recently lost a friend, and there's a lesson in this, so stay with me. When I say I lost a friend, I'm not saying that I lost a friend to a friend that has passed away. It's more like a friendship that ended, right? So in 2024, I learned a lot of things, right? God taught me a lot of things in 2024, but I'm just going to touch on a few of the things that I did learn in 2024. One of the first things that I learned in 2024, or let me not even say, I'm gonna just say this is one of the things that God told me in 2024. Number one is open your mouth. So I was just kind of dealing with the fact that, I wasn't having boundaries with people, and I was wearing myself out. And it was just like, how can you have boundaries if you never communicate them? Or if you're having an issue with somebody, why don't you just tell them that you don't like it, or that it makes you feel some kind of way? So that was one of the things that God taught me in 2024. His exact words was open your mouth. Another thing that I learned in 2024 is saying I'm proud of you to people is actually something that's needed, right? Congratulating people is something that's needed. How I learned that is because last year, on social media, I was getting a lot of different messages of people saying, I'm proud of you, I'm proud of your growth, I see what you're doing, yada yada yada. And I'm telling you, it took me a while. I was like, I don't even know what to say. Do I just say thank you, or what do I say? Because I'm not used to people saying I'm proud of you. That's just not something that I hear. You know what I'm saying? It was almost cringy, ugh. But I learned that that is something that's important. For some people, words of affirmation is their love language. So I learned that, telling people you're proud of them, that's something that's important. And when I realized that that was something difficult for me to not only say, but something difficult for me to accept, I learned, or I realized that, for my family, we'll be in the house, right? My sister go get her hair done, I go get my hair done, my mom go get her hair done. When I was little, we used to get our hair done around the same time. Or let me not say little, when I was in high school, I know for sure, for the most part, when I went to go get my hair done, my mama went to go get her hair done, because my mama was paying for me to get my hair done majority of the time. But now it's we all get our hair done at a different time. So my sister might walk in the house, I might walk in the house, my mama might walk in the house, and it's just they express love by saying, with your bald-headed self, or you think you cute, instead of just saying you look cute. You know what I'm saying? That's just how I grew up. So it's just kind of difficult for me to accept that. And it may be a sense of pride, you know what I'm saying? But I just don't know. I just didn't grow up like that. Just hearing people say certain stuff. So that ties into the next thing that I learned. That next thing is that people only know how to love as far or as much as they've been taught. And when I say as much as they've been taught, I mean they could have been taught, this is how you love, this is how you be a friend, this is how you love a man, this is how you love your mom. But they could also have learned how to love by what they didn't have or what they weren't told. They just said, okay, this is how I should love, or this is how I'm supposed to love. And again, because of the I'm proud of you problem that I was having, I noticed that. But it's also at one point last year, I was feeling guilty about not doing certain things for people. And it's a whole situation that happened, but I was asked to go somewhere by a family member, and then I was like, I need to just stay and do my work because I need to catch up. And they were like, okay, she gonna be mad about that. And I heard guilt trip. Obviously it was God, because I had never looked up guilt trip to really see what that meant. But when I looked it up, it was that people try to make you feel guilty so that you can do what they want you to do. And all my life I would feel guilty when I didn't show up for people or when I couldn't do something, which also again tied into boundaries. But I learned to love that way. I learned that love is doing what people ask you to do. So I had to see that everybody don't love the same, or everybody don't think that love is the same thing, because they've been taught certain ways. And if you're anything like me and you didn't grow up with the Bible saying that love is patient, love is kind, love is all of these things, and love thy neighbor as thyself, you think that showing up to everything is love when the Bible doesn't mention that. So, and then another thing that I learned last year is that every thought that you think towards a person is not true. Everything that you think towards a person is not true. And when I say that because there have been multiple times where I felt like my family is this or my family is that, or they getting quiet when I get in a room and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And I had to learn last year that sometimes what you think towards people is not true, because I would always do that. Every time I went in a room, I felt like somebody was talking about me, or you know what I'm saying? And I had to learn that people are not always acting funny because they're acting funny towards you. Sometimes people are acting funny because of whatever it is that they got going on internally, or whatever it is that's going on in their life. You're not that important. Where people are just always talking about you and always, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes it has nothing to do with you. So everything you think towards a person is not always true. Sometimes you're having those thoughts because of you. Sometimes it's because you're insecure. Sometimes it's because of your own personal struggles. Sometimes it's because you have no boundaries. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything is not always that people are being evil towards you. Those were things that I learned last year, right? So, and I just want to say that nothing that I'm saying in this video is to like bash anybody. It's really a lesson in it, so stay with me. So when I first started my journey and I left the home that I was living in, I was trying to make sure that I wasn't tripping and that I actually heard God tell me to leave and move out of the house that I was in and go to a different state. So I was like looking up all kind of stuff just to make sure I wasn't tripping. So I came across some videos of different women saying that God told them to move, and you know, they were sharing their journeys and stuff. And I came across one person, and when I would hear her talk, I'm like, bruh, like her story just sounds so much like mine. So I ended up reaching out to this person on social media, and I didn't expect her to respond to me, but she did, right? So she was so much support for me. There were times like during my journey where I didn't have any money, and I wouldn't even tell her. She would just send me something. And then she ended up going through a similar journey again. And then there were times that, you know, people would send me money and then I would send her money to make sure, you know, just being support for her and her kids. Now, I will say that there was a point in time where like we were fasting, right? And I noticed that we would talk throughout the whole fast. And I felt like, what if we're talking too much? You know what I'm saying? So basically, what ended up happening is that we both, you know, our journeys, they just weren't going as expected. And then we both were back in our hometowns and just kind of, you know, going through our own stuff. So we weren't talking as much. And I reached out to the friend. I'm trying to make this where it's not too long. without saying too much. I'm trying to think. So when I finally talked to the friend, she said something to me to the effect of like, I didn't want you to say so and so. So I took it as, okay, maybe I'm trying to be too much of a big sister. Like maybe I need to chill out, because she felt like she didn't want to talk to me. So I was like, okay, you know, I accepted it. When she said it, I let it go. So again, we're not talking as often. I'm trying to give her space. I'm trying to figure out what's going on in my life. You know, like I'm just trying to respect the space. But then I didn't hear from her for so long, and I was like, dang, what's up? Like, I thought I would at least have one phone call with her by now. But the reason why I wasn't like really tripping is because me and all of my closest friends, like people that I've been friends with since high school or middle school, we don't talk every day. We might talk once every couple of months. But when it had been so long, I was like, dang, what's up? So I was trying to like text her phone and stuff, and the messages weren't going through. And I didn't think that I was blocked. I just felt that she had changed her number. So I finally ended up getting in contact with her. We talked, and I was just telling her, you know, like, I'm so tired of listening to these prophecy videos. I just feel like everything that I listen to is just not, it's just not, like, I'm just discouraged at this point. So I just need to quit listening to these prophecy videos. And I don't remember what happened, but I just know that she ended up sending me a text message of like encouragement. And it was a really long message, but I was already feeling like I'm just not feeling it. So I never responded to the text message because I just didn't know what to say, because I was just so upset about how my life was going. Like, I had a point last year where I was telling God, like, I'm mad at you. And I had to go through that and get through that. So then I didn't talk to her for a long time again. And it's just like I would comment on like her YouTube videos. And she would like them, but she would never respond. And then like she got off of like Facebook and Instagram, so I couldn't reach out to her there. And then I tried to text her phone a couple of times, and the messages was turning green or whatever. So I was hurt because I started to feel abandoned by a friend. Like, that's literally how I felt. So I just unsubscribed, or I hid her videos from popping up on my YouTube because I felt hurt. And I was like, it's hard for me to watch this knowing that I haven't talked to my friend, because I don't understand what's going on. I thought maybe she was upset with me because I didn't respond to the long message that she had sent me. But so I didn't understand what was going on. But then she would pop up in my head like randomly. So then every time she would pop up in my head, I would go search for her videos and just like catch up. And then I would try to leave another comment, and then she still wouldn't respond. So I just continued like I was already doing, just not watching. And then she popped up in my head again one day, and I had a dream about her. And then I ended up sending her an email and basically just saying, hey, you know, I don't understand what happened. I don't know why we stopped talking, but whatever it was that I said. And basically in her response, she said that she had already known that she should have, you know, said something to me, and it was difficult for her to have this conversation, but she knows that she needs to. So in the message, she was just saying that, you know, she doesn't think I'm a bad person and it's still love for me, but she questioned my heart towards her. She said that she didn't feel supported and she didn't feel heard. And she mentioned that, you know, like there was a time that she sent me some music and I didn't respond to it. And then I did like a podcast episode, and I said something about me not connecting with God through music, but I connect with God through like podcasts or sermons. And she felt like I was talking about her, I guess. And I honestly, I cried so hard. I cried so hard because to see someone say they question my heart towards them, and not just that you question my heart towards you, but it was all of these things that made you feel a way and you never said anything to me. That really hurt. And then you say you question my heart towards you. That's like deep. Like my heart towards you, that really hurt me. But it's so funny because had we been talking to each other, all of the things that I just said in the beginning of this video, she would have known that I was learning those things, but she wasn't talking to me. She didn't know what I was learning, what I was going through, because every time I talk to my friends, I just catch them up on my life, things that I'm learning, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? But it was like everything that I have been learning, I felt like she was upset about me not doing those things. And it was just like, if you would have said something to me, we could have just fixed it. Like any other type of relationship or friendship, if you tell me the problem, I'm willing to fix it. So one of the things that God told me is open your mouth, right? And it's like, dang, you didn't open your mouth. You didn't tell me, and it could have been fixed. So you said that you didn't feel supported. If you didn't, I don't know exactly what support she wanted from me, but I felt like I was supporting in the way that I could, not necessarily in the way that she wanted me to. But again, she didn't say anything. So then it brings me here to what I'm about to say now. I have a friend that I've been friends with since the 7th grade. We always fall out and end up being friends again. And I'm different now. I'm different than how I used to be. And I'm not only different than how I used to be, but we have gone through lots of transitions together. Since the 7th grade, like I moved schools, I moved to another side of town, like it was all kind of different stuff. And just a few years ago, I was club hopping. I was in the clubs. I was going outside. I was throwing money in the clubs and stuff like that. Like, she's seen me at all kind of different phases of my life. And I've seen her at all kind of different phases of her life. But we're both very passive. We've both been through lots of things as children. And we're alike in a lot of ways. But one of the things is that I've cut her off so many times. She'll tell you. She don't even know what she did. I just cut her off. But I cut her off because of how I felt like she was being towards me. And I never told her what was wrong. So now I see the other side of it. Now I see what it's like to be the friend that gets cut off. That never had a chance to know what they did wrong, or never had a chance to fix what was actually wrong. There was a situation with me and my friend. I'm gonna tell y'all her name. Her name is Farron. She's been on my podcast before. There was a problem that we had last year in 2024. I'm passive because, first of all, I'm just now learning this about myself. But I'm passive because when I grew up, I would try to like explain myself to my mama or like tell her how I felt. And it would be like screaming, yelling, cussing, like I had nobody to talk to. So I would just hold everything in. So that's why I'm very passive. But it took me like finding God for those things to even be exposed to me, for me to know that this is why you're like this. So me and Farron went through a little situation, and I'm like the type of person where it takes me time to think about something before I really understand what it is that I feel, or for me to even know that I really feel some kind of way. And sometimes it takes me so long to think about it that I should be mad about it, but I just chose to just ignore it because it took so long for me to think about it. But God told me last year, open your mouth. And because he told me that, I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to tell her, even though it's been a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks since we had this conversation, I'm just going to have to tell her how I feel, because I see that I'm in a conflict with myself. I'm like, I'm about to cut her off again. We not friends no more. But I never told her what was wrong. So when I told her what was wrong, she was like, you know what? I had no idea that this was this. I didn't even know you thought like that. I didn't even know, you know what I'm saying? Because we're different. Some people really just don't know. But after I talked to her, I felt so much better about it that I opened my mouth. So again, like I said, now I'm on the other side of being cut off when I'm usually the one that's just cutting people off. And I never got a chance to fix it. I never got a chance to say, well, I'm working on this, or I can work on this. Like any kind of relationship, when you love someone, why would you not try to fix whatever it is that's wrong? So I'm telling y'all this story because if you struggle with any of the things that God has taught me, I want you to know that. I want you to know that sometimes it is your discernment telling you that a person is not good for you. But sometimes you're not right about everything that you think towards a person. Sometimes you should give them an opportunity to fix it or to speak up and see how they react before you just cut it off. All of the things that I said, you got to speak up. You got to open your mouth. You got to tell people what's wrong. Sometimes we, like for me, I don't like conflict. I don't like to be yelled at. I don't like to be screamed at. I don't like for people to try to play me. But if you opening your mouth and you know that you're opening your mouth respectfully towards a person and that's the reaction you get, then that's how you know it's time to cut this person off. Tell people you're proud of them. Tell people you love them. Tell people that you like to, that you're glad that, you know, tell them, like, congratulate them, because sometimes people need to hear that. There are people like me who are not used to that, but it really does help. Sometimes people's love language is words of affirmation. Sometimes it'll help if you just ask your friends or ask people in your life, what is your love language, so that I know how to love you the way you want to be loved and not necessarily the way that I think you should be loved. For me, me and the friend that fell out, I'm loving her the way I think I should love her, but she wants to be loved a different way. But if I would have known that at that time, I could have fixed it, because I'm just one of those people. I want to fix it. People only love as far as they've learned. So sometimes you got to be gracious with people and just realize that you probably really don't know. I can't say, oh, well, you should know this. That's not fair. That's not fair for you to do people like that, because when it's the other way around and they feel like, well, you don't love me the way I would want to be loved as a friend, so I'm cutting you off, then how would you feel? And again, every thought that you think towards a person is not always true. Sometimes it's you. So you really have to pay attention. Am I tripping, or is this person really like this towards me? But another thing is, like, I've learned from this situation too, that people do what's best for them. If somebody want to cut you off, they're going to cut you off. There's going to be losses in this life, and everybody's not meant to stay with you forever. Sometimes they're just supposed to be there for a season, and that's hard to accept when you really love people, but that's just the way it is. So I hope this helped you. I'm about to finish getting dressed because I'm running late. Look, my hair. You can't see my hair. I'm adding this bow. T-Move clip-ins for the win, okay?